Hey everyone, it's Hiedi Scott with DiyDreaming. Happy Sunday to you. I'm excited to be doing another episode, or whatever you want to call it, of Christ and Crafting today. And the projects that we're going to make are super messy. They're not messy in the normal way that I usually have messy craft projects, because we're not going to be using any paint or stencils during this video, but they're messy nonetheless. And what we're going to be making is 2 pillows that are made out of drop cloth that have a fringe on the outside of them. Like, do you guys have any of these blankets hanging around your house? I mean, we have several of them. These ones where you cut these little slits and tied knots the whole way around. We're going to be doing something similar to that, and then we're also going to put rosettes on them that we'll make. So my carpet is a disaster. It's filled with strings. I did clean myself off a little bit, but my clothes were filled with strings. And anyways, it's going to be a super fun craft. And then I'm going to talk about how God loves messy people and how God uses messy people. And I'm going to go into 2 verses in the Bible, and then I'm just going to quickly talk about some of the people in the Bible that were messy, but God still used them. Okay, so as we get started, as you're hopping on, say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if you have any questions. The things that we're going to be using today are mostly painter's drop cloth, which I'll tell you all about that. I have a little bit of fabric that I picked up at Walmart, a hot glue, and I did put 1 stencil on one of these pillows, so I'll show you that, but we won't actually be working with that today. So let me just grab the drop cloth and we'll start right there. And I hope you guys aren't getting sick of all the drop cloth crafts that I've been doing, but honestly, I love working with this stuff. It's amazing. Okay, so the drop cloth that we're using today, that I've been using for a lot of my crafts lately, is this. It's Everbuilt. It's medium duty canvas drop cloth, 8 ounces. This happened to be a 2-pack, but I'm sure you can get it in all different sizes in single packs too. And it came from Home Depot, and this is what the label looks like. Okay, and when you get it, it's like stiff and unyielding. Keep those words in mind. It's not soft, it's not comforting until you wash it twice. I usually wash my drop cloth twice on hot, and I might throw in some fabric softener, and then I'll dry it twice on hot. And I'll wash it with a bunch of towels, so it's gonna get really worked, I guess is the right word. And it ends up being, let's see, let me find a piece. It ends up like this. It's soft, it's easy to work with. I love this stuff. So that is what I made the project out of. And I'm just gonna show you this first one and talk about what I still need to do to it, and I'll tell you what my mistakes were. Then we're gonna make one that's a little different variation. We're gonna finish it. Then we're gonna make some little rosettes and put them on the pillows. And it's gonna be super cute. I can't wait. Hey Susie, hi Linda. Hey Lisa, I'm doing good, thank you. Oh, Hurricane West Virginia. Well, hey Susan and Donna. There's lots of you guys on. Okay, so this is the first one that I made. And essentially what I did is I took my pillow. Let me bring my camera down. The pillow that's in here is in here permanent. There's no way to get it out, but that's okay. It wasn't anything fancy. I took my pillow and I laid it on a big piece of drop cloth that had at least, let me get my ruler. I think I went, let's see, where's this side? I went about 5 inches outside of the edge of the pillow on all the sides. because I knew I would want room to glue it. I didn't use my sewing machine, but you certainly could. And I knew I would want to have this fringe that I'd be tying in knots. So whatever the dimensions of your pillow are, if it's like one of these pretty good size ones, just add 5 inches all the way around. Okay, and then I put the 2 pieces together and I started gluing. That was the first thing I did was to glue I'll show you. Just glue the 2 pieces together, and you can see that as you look at it a little bit, okay? When you're getting ready to do the last one, make sure you have your pillow in it, okay? And also I stenciled this one, which I'll show you that in just a second. You gotta stencil it before you glue it, before you glue in that last side and the pillow, okay? If you want to do that. Then I just cut these slits there. Let me tell you how long they are. They're like 4.5 inches long, roughly. And like I said, you're gonna add 5 inches onto what you would need to cover your pillow on every side. Okay, and then I essentially just tied knots the whole way around. Okay, the mistake with this, and that's why I love doing crafts, getting it all worked out before I come live so that I can tell you what worked and what didn't work. Because I didn't pull the strings and get it tidied up a little bit before I tied the knots, every time this gets bumped, I set it on my couch for a while, and it was like that cartoon character in Charlie Brown that, what is his name? He's the dirty one that's carrying his little blanket, and it's just a haze of dirt all around him. Anyways, this dropped a ton of strings, and I don't think, let me click this. I don't think you want that. So I went back and did one side, and that's what I'm gonna show you. And then I will do the whole entire pillow. I'll take it apart and do it over. So I just pulled all of the knots out of one side of it. Whoops, I'm dropping things on the floor that we're gonna need. Oh, and this is the stencil I did. This is that stencil from Magnolia Design Company that I love so much. It's called Mandala Lace. It's back in stock if you're wanting it. It's the one that I put on my jeans, in the back of my jean jacket, and then I also put it on a beautiful round tray that's in my kitchen. Anyway, so we're gonna do a rosette right here. It's gonna be really pretty. Okay, so then I untied this end right here. And basically I'm just working through this, pulling the strings, my scissors, and then cutting it off. And then when they're neat and tidy, then I'll do one knot. And it won't be dropping its strings everywhere. This is why I said this was such a messy craft. Because while I was taking just this one side apart to pull the strings and get them tidied up, oh my word, you couldn't believe how much stuff was on the floor and on me. But this would be a great craft to do while you're just watching TV. Pull the strings, and let me show you how you do that. Okay, so we'll go to one side that I haven't cleaned up at all. And then I'm gonna show you the other one, then we're gonna do some rosettes, and then I'm gonna talk about the whole messy thing, just in case you're wondering. And we're not gonna be as long as we were last week, I promise. Okay, so here's one that doesn't have any of the strings pulled. And basically you're just gonna start, you know, you want a little bit of fringe on each side. And some of them are gonna come off this way. That's what makes them really messy. And also some are gonna come off here. So, having a hard time getting anything out here. Come on. Okay, well anyways, I always have some issues. So then I'm taking the strings that I pulled and I'm cutting them off. And that's what I'll do with all this loose stuff that's flying around. I mean, it's all over the pillow. And then after I get it all off, I'll clean it up and then I'll retie it, okay? So after we do our rosettes, we're gonna put one right here. And this is gonna go on my couch in my family room. It's gonna be perfect because I'm doing that whole blue and white theme. And this is a dark blue ink that came also from Magnolia Design Company. And I believe that they're getting more of this dark blue ink this week. But the stencil's in if you're interested. And the website is magnoliadiy.com. Okay, so that was our first pillow. The next one I wanted to do just a little bit different, okay? What I wanted to have was just these little strips on one side and then a piece of the blue fabric inside of it. And then to, get my fringe going on all of these. I'm not planning to tie them, okay? This was kind of a little exercise for my mind to figure out how to do it, but it's gonna be super cute. So I will fiddle with getting all the strings and stuff off of them. Look, I'm already covered. When I'm not live and you're not thinking, hurry up. But okay, so this is just one piece of drop cloth that I folded in half over the size of the pillow that I had to put in it, which it's a little bit smaller. It's more of a rectangle shape. And then I added, let me see how much, about 3 inches of extra on the 2 sides. And then I glued one of them with a strip of fabric from this blue that I got from Walmart in between the 2 layers. And we're gonna do that. Okay. And then I cut it, and we're gonna do that too. So let me get my glue gun and my little cardboard for gluing. So you guys, these pillows are gonna cost you almost nothing. Just your time and the hassle of getting it cleaned up. But you're gonna love them. And if you do these, I definitely want to see pictures. Okay, so I need to figure out how big of a strip of this I'm going to need. And I'm basically just going to kind of eyeball it. And cut and pull a strip. All right? And this fabric came from Walmart. I'll show you some of the other ones. It was in a little pack that I got recently. It was like the only thing sitting on the shelf. Nobody wanted it but me. And every piece of it, so I mean, they may have it at your store. Every piece has something interesting on the back, and they're all just blue and white. And this one's like tie-dye. Can't remember what this one. This one's just navy on the black, on the back of it. Okay, and I love this pattern. And I love how it's sort of tie-dye on the back. So, okay, so what I did right here, I hope this is understandable. Are you guys understanding it? I mean, basically, I just made it work out. And I'm trying to tell you, going in reverse, how I did it. It's gonna be super cute. Both of these pillows are gonna be darling. Hello, hope you're having a good afternoon. I am, thank you. Yeah. You wish your Walmart still had fabric. You know, you can order fabric from Joann's and pick it up curbside. So that might be an option. Okay, so I'm gonna open my piece. I marked on both sides of it where the, where I'll be gluing it. And I'm just gonna basically pull it out to the edges. This piece is a little bit long. I marked where the top is. I'll show you this in just a second. Let me get it laying down. Flip this around. Okay. So this is the piece that we ripped. All right. And it's just, I just laid it in between, like it's the bologna sandwich. This is the bologna. And these 2 pieces here are the bread on the outside. So what we're gonna do, basically, is we're going to lift this side up and glue down, and then stick it, and then we'll flip it over and glue the other side. Then we're gonna cut it, okay? And I have to do it in the direction that, okay, so let me think. Where do I wanna do my glue strip? I marked it on this outside, so I'm just gonna measure and then lay my ruler down, and I'll just use that as a guide. When I was doing the other side though, I got a little crazy with the glue and I almost glued my ruler to the inside of the pillow. Thank goodness it was made out of metal because it was pretty easy to get up. Okay, so I want it to be about 4 inches in. I think that's about right. Can you guys see what I'm doing? It doesn't have to be precise. None of my crafts are precise. Okay, so I'm just gonna run my glue strip along my ruler and then push it down and then move down a little bit further. And this is my new Surebonder glue gun that I got at Hobby Lobby for like $8. It's great. I do need to get some more glue though, because I'm almost out. I have been a gluing maniac lately, I guess. Okay, so I just put down a long strip. While it's still hot, I want to get this flipped over and lay down. Lay down straight. Hurry. Okay, and then I'm going to push it into the glue. I may have it a little winky wonky. Oh well. This part's hard too. Now I'm going to try to unglue my ruler, which I've glued to the pillowcase again. Oh, come on. Okay. And we will move down. We'll just finish this up and then we'll cut off the excess. And we are going to be cutting this a little bit shorter, so it'll be fine. Okay. The lack of preciseness is what, you're right. You know what? And I want to try to, I want the Holy Spirit to relate how these crafts, these messy crafts, are like us as humans. And we're special to God. And we're messy. And I'm going to use these messy pillows on my couch, and they're going to be awesome. And God uses messy people. So that's kind of where I'm going to be going, in case you're curious. And I know I keep saying and. I really was not sure what I was going to do even this morning. And then I was starting to feel a little stressed about that. I knew I was doing this pillow project for a long time. Oh, and let me tell you guys this. This is important. So I did not come up with this idea. One of my friends, her name is Sue Hetrick. She shared some beautiful pictures. Hers are much nicer. She's more of a professional than me. Of her pillows that she did. She did a round one too, and it was darling. But this same idea, like you do these blankets, like these things. And that's what got me thinking, and I asked her, would it be okay if I did your craft on Christ and Crafting Sunday? And she was cool with that. So I never want to take an idea and let you guys think that I thought of it if I didn't. I did not think of this. Putting the blue material in there is my own little idea, my own little spin on it. But the idea for it is not my own. Okay, I'm going to take the pins out of this side. And we're going to flip it over. And I have pins on the other side to tell me where to lay it. And I think we said 4 inches, roughly. So I'm going to put my ruler about right here. Yeah. Okay. Can you guys see? Yeah, so if Sue is okay with it, I want to share her Facebook page with you guys. And also I want to share her pictures with you guys. And I think she probably will be fine with that. But of course I'm going to check before I do it. Okay, can kind of feel where the glue is on the other side. And it's going on messy, it doesn't matter. She probably had some really smart way of doing this that I don't have. I'm probably making it way harder than what it needs to be also, but I'm just using what I have and sort of working backwards to figure out how I can achieve the look I want. On the bigger pillow, it did not matter if it wasn't all thoroughly glued because I tied knots, but I'm not planning on doing knots with this one. Okay, let's take out the last pin here. We're going to cut off this excess right here. And I'll let you look at the other side for just a second before we start cutting. Because I want to get onto the rosettes. That's the fun thing. Okay, so you can see that it's just 3 layers. It's a sandwich. Drop cloth, blue fabric, drop cloth. And they're all glued together like a sandwich. And then basically all I did was I just laid my ruler, which now has glue on it, here. And I cut my little slits about 1 inch. And I did cut this top part here. Whoops, did I mess that up? I don't know. Okay, so then this was so easy. And what you can kind of tell when you need to stop because when you get to that glue, it's hard to cut through it. Okay, so that was basically it. And that's going to end up being this side, which is going to end up being, I'm going to really fray the heck out of it. And I may even press some of it open so you can see the blue better. I'm not sure. Anyways, then my plan is to put a bunch of rosettes in 2 corners. And it's going to be really pretty. Okay, let's make some rosettes. And then we're going to actually put them on this pillow and the one that has the mandala lace on it. Okay, I pre-made a bunch of them, so we would have plenty of options. Let's do one with drop cloth, and then we'll do one with this blue fabric. And if you've already seen me do drop cloth rosettes 100 times, I'm sorry. You're gonna get to see it one more time. Well, probably not one more time because I love these flowers. I'll probably keep doing this. Say you only put blue in 2 ends. Yeah, that's what I did with this rectangular pillow thing. But you could do it, you could even just do a short edge of the drop cloth and then do fringe out, 2 layers of fringe out in the blue and then tie that part. I mean, there's so many things that you can do with this. Okay, to get started with my little rolled rosette, I'm just gonna take a little square of drop cloth. I'm looking for my cut. And then this is just a leftover piece that I've just been slowly snipping away at. And the width of your little strips that you're going to use can be whatever you want. I just cut a little slit and I'm just going to tear it. All right. I am going to pull just a few of these excess strings off. This is the mess. Oh my goodness. It's everywhere. Okay, and then you always start with a knot. These rosettes always start with a knot or a really good pinch of some sort that will kind of hold it all together. And you can make these as big or small as you want. Let's come up just a little bit so that I can. Oh gosh, so sorry. Are we here? My stand is not wanting to stand. Let me fix that just a little bit so it doesn't tip over again. Okay, let's try that again. Something always happens to me on every video. And you guys, I was kind of nervous today. I didn't write a whole thing. I just pulled out 2 Bible verses and I'm just gonna go with the flow. And it's gonna be brief. But I still was kind of nervous coming on. And I wasn't last week. Okay, so you're gonna do a blob in the center and stick your little knot into it. All right, and then I like to sort of fold my drop cloth like this. Can you guys see that? And then I'm just gonna start twisting it and rolling it around the center, and then putting some glue down and sticking it in the glue. And you want it to be in close to the center. Keep rolling. That's the charm of this, is that it looks different and messy the whole way around. Like in some areas you have this fringe sticking up and some areas you don't. I'm rolling it and twisting it at the same time. Does that make sense? How many of you guys have made these flowers? I'm thinking probably a lot of the people who like and follow DIY Dreaming have made these. Anyways, if you've made them, tell me in the comments that you've made them. And for the people who are thinking this looks hard, tell them if you thought it was hard or not. I really don't think it's hard at all. There's nothing you can mess up with this. So I'm just continuing to roll and press it in. And let's look close up. By the way, if the comments are driving you crazy, you can swipe them to the, I think it's to the right, and they'll disappear. So you can see this area of the picture. And then if you want them back, you can just swipe the opposite direction and they'll come back. So I forget to tell people that. Okay, this is going to be a good one because my fabric is short, and I'm going to show you how I start with another piece. Okay. This is where the end of my fabric that I've twisted around it is. And I think I want this rosette, because they're going on big pillows, I think I want it to be a little bit bigger. Did I tear any more? Yes, I have another one already torn. Ready to go. I'm not going to do a knot to start it. I'm just going to pinch it like into fourths and stick it on top of the end of the last. It'll be covered up basically. So now we have a new strip. You watched me make a bunch of these a bunch of times, and you still need to get drop cloth. You gotta get drop cloth. Oh my gosh, we've made. Did you guys see the table runner that we made that had the little fringy thing on the ends, and it had these rosettes that had blue bandana material in them? That was a super fun DIY project. And that was about maybe a month ago. So there's so much that you can do with drop cloth. From making table runners, placemats, napkins, banners, all kinds of different flowers. I love it. And it's so affordable. It's so nice to work with. It works great for stenciling if you have a kind of fabric that, because it's thick and it holds its shape. So if you have a stencil that you want to put on something that's fabric, drop cloth works great for that. Okay, I'm just continuing to twirl and twist and wind it around. All those fun words. Wow, there's 423 people on. That's amazing. Thank you guys for watching. We're almost done with this part. I'm going to show you how to cut them off, and then we'll glue them on, and then we'll go into the Bible and talk about messy people, which I think, I know when I first heard this idea, it was at my church, and it was a long time ago. Our pastor did a sermon. So I'm not doing a sermon because I'm not a professional Christian. I'm just sharing with you my ideas, my thoughts on this. Anyways, he did a message on the messy people. His was focused more to the people that were in the lineage of Christ. They weren't all perfect. Oh my goodness. That's crazy, huh? You would think that going back through history, the whole lot, tracing the line of Jesus, that it would be only perfect people since he was, perfect, but it wasn't. So God uses all kinds of different people. All right, then you're going to just look around the edges and see where are areas that you might need a little bit more glue. This area right here might need it. And on a pillow, we use the pillows that are on our couch. Throw them on the floor to watch TV, take a little nap on the sofa, that kind of thing. So you are going to want them to be, not going to fall apart the first time you put them on. Okay, now I'm just going to cut this off, and you don't have to be super duper careful. You can't really see where your rolled rosette ends and your backing starts. And we're putting it on something that is this exact same fabric, so it really doesn't matter. Okay, there's one. I have a bunch of them that I want to cut off. I didn't do any of that beforehand. Here's a littler one. You could also make leaves if you want, but just for purposes of time, I'm not going to put leaves on these ones, but it does look really cute when you do that. So if you guys do this project, you make any of these kind of pillows using drop cloth or any other fabric, I would really love it if you would share your pictures over at Dreamy DIY. And if you don't know what that is, that's a group that I set up. Oh, this still needs a little bit more glue. I set it up about a year ago as a place for us to share our pictures and get even more ideas, not just from me, from each other. So it's Dreamy, it's a Facebook group. It's Dreamy DIY, and there is a space in between those two words. And if you just put that in the search bar, if you haven't been before, Dreamy space DIY, it'll take you to the group. You can ask to join. I'll say, sure. And then you can look back through all the amazing, just look at the photos. You don't have to scroll through all of the, comments and everything until you find something that you want to know more about. But there's a ton of photos of amazing craft projects over there. And I know I get ideas all the time. In fact, that might have been where I saw Sue Hetrick's idea for these pillows. I can't remember. Anyways, so if you haven't done that already, you should definitely do it. You'll be glad. And then share pictures if you do this there. Of course, you don't have to share pictures to be part of that group, but it's a super supportive group. People don't ever criticize or say anything mean. We're all like, yay, that's beautiful. How'd you do it? I mean, it's super encouraging and supportive. And so if you feel comfortable and want to share pictures of the projects that you're doing, and they don't have to be DIY dreaming projects either. The only thing is that I ask that you, what are the two things? Oh, don't share into the group videos or posts from other crafters. Like no matter how wonderful they are, and there's a ton of really wonderful crafters out there, I just appreciate it if you don't share those into this Dreamy DIY group. And then don't try to, sell, I don't know, lipstick or wreaths or anything in that group. I do share the couple of companies that I represent in there sometimes, but I would appreciate it if you guys didn't use that group to sell whatever awesome things you might represent. Okay, one more of these to cut out. And then we'll get the pillows out. We'll do some gluing. And so stay with me. We're getting there. If you're watching this on replay, you can always fast forward. I understand. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, and then I did do one that was blue, just to see. And it was the same process exactly. I cut some strips, I tied them in a knot, I glued them on a little piece of blue fabric. And I may do some more after we're done here so that I can share pictures of those with you. Okay, let's get our pillows out. And like I said, this one, if you're just coming on, this one I shared that I made the mistake of not cleaning these little ties up before I tied them. So I will be cleaning them all up so they're nice and neat like this, and retying all of them. So if you do this project, it's so much easier to just clean them up before you tie them. We're going to add a rosette right here. I think that's going to be really nice. I love this stencil, in case you're wondering. It's called Mandala Lace. It's just a really good design. It appeals to me. I don't know why it does. It just really does appeal to me. And I used blue ink, and I've used this same stencil I put some white ink on some jeans and a jean jacket, and I made a tray with this. So if you're interested in this stencil, you can find that at my website, which is magnoliadiy.com. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what size of a rosette we want. What do you guys think? Do you think that we want one that's completely covers the center of that? Like this one's a little bit bigger. Do you like the little bit bigger one? Or would you like a little bit smaller one? Smaller. This one's smaller. What do you guys think? Let's see. It's a beautiful pillow you've made. Oh, thank you for sprinkling. Yeah, if you feel like sprinkling, if you like these projects, or when I get to the Christ part and getting the Bible at the end, feel free to sprinkle then too. Okay, so everybody's pretty much saying the bigger one, which I think was this one, right? Let me look. Okay, I'm not sure if it was this one, but this one's a little bit more round, and I like this one better. So I have to stand up to do this. And I'm going to start in the center because I can always lift the edges up. Oh, this is going to be so cute. And it's going to be so cute with the other pillow that's going to have several rosettes on it. Okay. I'm just going to go around the edges, add a little glue there. And there we go. Pretty cute, huh? It'll be super cute when it's all cleaned up and it has all these little ties. My sofa's about this color, maybe just a little bit lighter. Okay, one thing about this ink that I do need to let you guys know is that after you use it on fabric, that's what it's for, this ink. It's for fabric and ceramics. It's from magnoliadiy.com. Then you need to let it thoroughly dry, which I think is at least 24 hours. And then you need to heat set it either with a heat press or a hot iron. And I have been putting one of those flour sack tea towels in between my iron and the thing that I stenciled, the ink, and just go over it and over it and over it. You can flip it over, do the other side, and now it's permanent. And if it was sitting on the couch, what I would hate to have happen is for it to be on the couch and not have been heat set, and somebody sits down and their jacket is slightly wet or something. I don't know. I mean, this is just me always worrying about everything. I would hate to have this ink get smudged on a sofa or something. So be sure to heat set it if you're going to use this ink from Magnolia DIY on pillows, okay? All right, so that was that one. Now let's get to the other one. Although I haven't finished cutting this side yet. We did cut this one, and I'm going to make it really messy, but we can look at what the pillow looks like, and we're going to add some, where we can look at where the margins are. Move this down a little bit further. Okay, so here's one side, and here's the other side. And my thought was to do, I always like things in odd numbers. Like to do something like this in one corner. Can you guys see that? It's just 3 of them. I might actually, you know what would be really cute? Let's see. Is if we did some leaves out of this blue fabric. Let's just try one just to see. Oh yeah, I think that would be super cute. What, do you guys like that idea of adding leaves to it? Can you see? I'm kind of leaning. What color blue ink? It's just, it's the only blue ink that Magnolia DIY has. It's not chalk paste, it's ink. And I believe that the blue is out as of today, but it will be back in this week. And you can use that Mandela lace stencil with chalk paste also, and you can do a lot of other projects. So do you guys like the leaves if I cut a bunch of them out and did that later? I think so too. I think it's gonna make it pop. So my idea was to do like 3 different ones in this corner and then 3 different ones down here. And I was wondering what you guys would think about doing a blue one in it. I'm not sure. I think that sticks out too much. What do you guys think? I also think this one might be just a little bit too small. I might need to make another one. Let's do a leaf. This blue fabric has leaves on it too. It came from Walmart this week. It was the only thing on the shelf when I went into the fabric section. What do you guys think? You love the leaves. Oh, yay. Okay. Do you guys think this one is too small? I kind of do. I think I need to make one more that's about this size. So I'll fold the pillow up now in the center so you can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. And it's going to have stuff. Let's go in a little bit further. In both corners, in an odd number, just a leaf of blue with, yeah, I know, just the blue adds, oh, you did like the blue flower. Okay, well, I'm gonna fiddle around with this off camera, get it all finished up, hopefully by tonight, take pictures, and I will share that with you. Get my notes out. Where is the note that I started with? It must be on the floor somewhere. Let me look for that. Hang on 2 seconds. Oh, here it is. It's under my chair. Okay. Come back up here where I can see you. Yeah, I think, Patricia, I think it's too small also. Okay, if you guys have questions about anything, feel free to leave them in the comments. And as soon as I'm done here, I will get off and answer all the questions in the comments. Okay, so the couple of ideas that I really wanted to share today that, you know, I didn't know what, what I was going to do. And then the Holy Spirit, I don't know, I don't know how I get that idea or how I know that that's what it is, but that it just happened that way for me today. And so the Holy Spirit was telling me this idea of messy. It started with the pillows being so messy and me trying to clean it up before I came live. And I started to think about the fact that, first of all, God loves messy people. He doesn't require us to get our lives all straight and perfect before we come to him. And that was something when I grew up in a family that we went to church on occasion, but I would not say that I had any real understanding of faith or who Jesus was until I was an adult. And I remember thinking, this sounds silly, that after I was done with college and having all my fun and I got my life straight, then I would seek God. Then I'd figure all that out, and I wanted that relationship. You know, we all have that hole in our souls, that ache for something, because we're not, I keep saying this every week, but we are not, this is not our final destination, this world, this earth that we're on right now. We were made for the garden, the heavenly garden. And so while we're here, we're going to always have that ache that you just cannot satisfy. And I knew I had it, and I knew I wanted to figure it out, but I wanted to have fun. And then my plan was to get my life together, and then I would go to God. That's not how it is. So that's the first thought I wanted to leave with you. And the second thought is, you know, I have thought for a long time that that God wouldn't want to use me because I'm still a sinner and I have a messy life, probably like a lot of you guys. You know, we all have our junk and the stuff, the stuff. Anyways, hey Maddie, how are you doing? But God can use messy people too. He really can, and he does. And so if that's holding you back from listening to what God might be telling you and taking a step out in faith, I want to encourage you, you don't have to get it all together before you go to God or before you go out. And the verses, so the thing that kept coming into my mind was those two words, but God. And the verses that I was led to were Ephesians 2:4-5, but I want to read more of that, and Romans 5:8. So let's start it in Ephesians. And I'm just going to read the beginning up to, just a little ways into it, because I think sometimes when you just pick one little sentence out of a whole text, you don't get the full understanding of what's going on or what the circumstances are. So I want to read that. And this little part in my Bible, Ephesians 2, is labeled Made Alive in Christ. Okay, so it says, as for you, you were dead in your transgressions and sins, in which you used to live when you followed the ways of this world and of the ruler of the kingdom of the air, the spirit who is now at work in those who are disobedient. Sorry, I do always get weepy. So, in case you're not understanding what that says, it's saying that the enemy is the ruler of this world, and his tool is sin and our sin nature. And our desire to do our own thing, to disobey, to not give God the proper respect. And I'm the worst of all. So I'm not saying I have this figured out. Okay, so it starts out by saying that we were dead in our transgressions and sin because we're living in this world, and that's just how it is. And then it says, all of us also lived among them at one time, gratifying the cravings of our sinful nature and following its desires and thoughts. We're all sinners. We are. That's our nature. Like the rest, we were by nature objects of wrath. And something I didn't understand for a very long time was that God is holy. And his holiness prevents him from being in contact with sin. And that's what Jesus gave for us, was he was the payment for our sin so that we can approach God individually, personally. So before, we are objects of wrath to God because he is so holy, and that is so hard to understand. Okay, and then the next sentence, it starts with, but because of his great love for us, God's love for us, but because of his love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ, even when we were dead in transgressions. It is by grace you have been saved. So that's basically saying, but God, we're dead in our transgressions. We're all sinners, but God. He even in the middle of all our mess, but God. He loves us because of his great love for us. God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ, even when we were dead in our transgressions. So if you're thinking that you have to get your life unmessy before God would love you, or before you could go to God, that is not the case. He loves you. And he wants you to come to him now. Messes and all. Okay, and then the next verse I wanted to read is also but God. And it is in Romans 5:8. The book of Romans is an awesome book. It's just filled with really great stuff. Okay. And I'm a Bible scribbler, and I would encourage you to scribble in your Bibles also, because it just adds so much. As I'm looking back on all my scribbles, I'm remembering insights that I had into the word. Okay, so I'm going to start at verse 6. And let's see, what was the title of this section? Peace and joy. Okay, at verse 6 it says, you see, at just the right time, when we were still powerless against our sin nature, Christ died for the ungodly, us, the sinners. So it was at just the right time when we couldn't do anything to help ourselves. We're just sinners, we are. And Christ died for the ungodly. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous man, though for a good man, some might possibly dare to die. But we're all sinners. But God. I love that. I think maybe I'm going to make a stencil with my Icon Art Custom stencil maker that says, but God. Because that's, oh my gosh, that's a really good reminder. So then verse 8 says, but God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And if you're thinking that he doesn't love you because your life is messy, that could not be further from the truth. He says that in his word, but God. Okay, so then the second thing I just want to think about really quick, and then I'll be done, is can God still use you even if you're messy? Now, I'm praying that God's gonna use me, of course, but nothing more than what I'm doing right now, okay? I don't want to go on a foreign mission, for 10 years, and I think what I'm doing right now is more than what I had ever planned to do. So I am still a mess. complete, total mess. And life is definitely better, for sure, because I'm not alone. I have Christ. And I have that hope that you just can't have any other way. But I'm still a mess, and I bet you probably are too. And a lot of the characters in the Bible were a mess also. So I just want to read you this list, and I'll tell you who wrote the list. Although if you just look through the Bible, you could pull it all out. The person who came up with this list, sorry, that's my dog barking for no reason. His name was Jared Wilson. I don't know who he is, but I printed this list from something that this person wrote. Okay, so here's some of the characters in the Bible that were a mess. Okay, Abraham, God used him even though he was old, and he was a mess. Elijah was suicidal, and God used him. Joseph was abused. Oh my word. We just did this, a couple of sermons our pastor did on Joseph, and wow, he was so abused, sold into slavery. But God used him to save the nation when there was a huge famine, to preserve the line that would bring Christ. So, even though he was abused, God and a mess, God used him. Job went bankrupt. Moses had a speech problem and some other problems too. And I feel sad that he didn't get to go into the promised land, but you know, he had the same issues I have, the issues of not wanting to fully trust or not fully obeying God. Gideon was afraid. Samson was a womanizer. Rahab, she was a prostitute. The Samaritan woman was divorced and had many husbands, whatever that means. Noah was a drunk. Jeremiah was young. Jacob was a cheater. David, oh my gosh, a man after God's own heart that God used mightily. Still, I mean, using him every day when you open up the book of Psalms or Proverbs. I believe he's the author of both of those, or parts of both of those. He was a cheater and he was a murderer. After the incident with Bathsheba, he tried to trick everyone. You know, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but then he ended up having her husband killed. So he was a mess also. Jeremiah, let's see. Where am I? Jonah ran from God. Naomi was a widow. Peter denied Christ 3 times, and still he was the rock upon which God built the church. Martha worried about everything. That's me. In a lot of ways. Zacchaeus was small and money hungry. Oh my word. The disciples fell asleep while they were praying. I do that all the time. And Paul was a Pharisee who persecuted Christians before he became one. So all these people were messy. Their lives were messy. But God still used them. And some of these people, holy cow, he used them in mighty ways. So I just hope that this is encouraging to you, that if you're living a messy life, which I think everyone is, my mess is just different from your mess, that God still loves you. Don't wait to go to him until you clean up the mess. Go to him now. And if you're getting the sense that God wants to use you for something big or small, even just to encourage a neighbor, then don't let your messes prevent you from letting God use you. And as I look at my super messy pillows sitting on my couch, I'm going to think about this idea, but God loves me even though I'm messy, and God uses me. And I may actually, now I'm thinking about it, I might make a little stencil that says, but God, and put it on here or on the other one. I think that would be kind of fun to have. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you have a friend or know somebody that needs a little encouragement, or that is feeling like they're all alone and they're the only one that has messes in their lives, feel free to share this with them. Feel free to sprinkle. Oh, you guys are so sweet to me. Is there anything I can send to you about the Bible? Well, let's communicate through private messenger. I do have some of these really great books. Let me just see. I don't know that this is what you or anyone else is wanting, but this is something that you can order on Amazon for just a few dollars. And in years past, I've passed these on. This was written by my pastor, Andy Stanley, and it just resolves that question of how good is good enough. And that might be a place to start. So this is what it looks like. How Good is Good Enough by Andy Stanley. And there's tons of great resources. Anyway, so the lady who said that she wanted some information, send me a private message and we'll talk about that. And thank you everyone else. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I just hope that my ramblings and messy craft, that it encouraged you and blessed you in some way. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Look for the pictures of these pillows as soon as I can get them all cleaned up and fluffed up and all that kind of jazz. I'll share in this line of comments, and I'll also probably share it as a separate post here at DiyDreaming. Bye. Thanks.